Oh Lord, this one was an experience. Let's talk about that. Hello everybody, UB here, and today we are reimagining Jack Skellington, and this one's gonna be very bizarre, and please bear with me. So basically I approached this because one of my patrons commented on a Facebook post that I made. I asked basically just what characters would you like to see with a relatable body type to go with my Ari from last week. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. And whatever other pieces I'll be putting into this relatable body type series. One of my patrons, I'm pretty sure, was screwing with me. He said Jack Skellington. And I'm a very spooky person. I'm all for Jack Skellington, but I also think it was a joke because how do you give a skeleton a body type? Big question, but I thought, hey, I'll take it and run with it. So that's what I did on stream last week. And it had some weird results. So basically, I approached this Jack as if he was like fresher to Halloween Town, like his flesh hasn't rotted off, and so he's not a skeleton yet, but he is very gaunt and spooky, and I wasn't sure 100% what I was gonna get going into this. I just knew I wanted to give him a really round face, and he had to have long fingers, and the clothing was important, and that was about it. So I went into this by giving him a round face. I thought about the hair quite a bit and decided to just make him bald because I don't know what kind of hair Jack Skellington would have, but I imagine it would be like really big and styled because he has a kind of politician kind of vibe to him, and I wasn't sure that felt spooky, so I just left him bald. I gave him these big spooky eyes that are kind of gross. And then I just did a value painting, which we've talked about on the channel before. Basically, I didn't give this any line art, really. I did a little bit in the white, I suppose, but otherwise I kind of just left it there, and I was looking at a lot of different reference photos while I was on stream doing this to kind of get a feel of how to design him. The only important parts that I found that I haven't talked about already were kind of his little teeth that poke out on the bottom here and there, and his tie, and that was about it. I decided to put some white gloves on him kind of last minute because that felt like a good way to rope the fleshiness into the skeleton aesthetic by just giving him white gloves. So that was an attempt that I made to kind of blend the two ideas. Really, at the end, I tried to take a textured brush, bring in some grays, some whites, and kind of give him a little bit of a texture to him that would kind of give him a style, and I don't think I went as heavy on that as I should have, but it is what it is at this point. I think he turned out okay, but he also reminds me of a boobah. And for those of you who didn't experience boobahs, they were made for like 3 to 5 year olds, and it was a show, and also toys, but you know, show first. And basically, they're balls with little like baby heads on top, like fluffy balls with a baby head on top with big eyes and like bald head, creepy. Their heads would go in and out of their bodies like a turtle, and most of their vocabulary was just boobah. So they were terrifying for those of us who weren't 3 to 5. And this is like an early 2000s thing. So he turned out kind of with that boobah face. And I was really kind of heartbroken about it. But I showed one of my friends that is a big Jack Skellington fan my attempt at making Jack Skellington with a relatable body type. And he was like, oh, I see where you were going. Like, it looks like you put flesh on him, that's all. It makes sense. And I'm like, oh, you're so supportive. supportive, thank you. So with that being said, after that I just filled in the background with black and then created the moon, and I kind of did a little explanation of how I do moons on stream. So if you're not following me on Twitch, please do. I give all sorts of tidbits out like that in the moment. And then gave it kind of a glow, and then put in the bats in black. I felt like that was really important just to give it a little more dimension, kind of drive home that this is Jack Skellington, because otherwise some people might get confused. And then the lighting was a big question mark. I think I should have put some purples in there, but I went basically just flat orange, yellow, a little bit of brown. And I tried to make it look like he's kind of glowing from the moon behind him, but it was kind of an attempt that didn't work out. But after spending 2 hours on this guy, I kind of figured this is about as good as this version is gonna get. It's very off-putting, and so I didn't want to spend more time on it necessarily. I think that this is a learning opportunity for sure, so I'm not heartbroken about it. It's just a very bizarre piece to come out of my brain. So if you want to see weird things like this that happen sometimes, please follow me on Twitch. I'm streaming Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 7:30 CST, aka Central Time. Really, it turns out to either be like this or to be something that comes together really easily, and there's very little in between, so it's always interesting for sure. And I also play video games on Fridays, so come join, see what I'm playing, maybe chat a little bit in the chat. It would be greatly appreciated. Now, I'm gonna let you get on with your day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm gonna give you a full 1,000 experience points for getting to the end of the video. It means a lot because the YouTube algorithm does pay attention to how far you get into my videos. Don't forget to love each other and drink some water today, and I will see you guys next week. Peace.